Stephen King here, and I'm going to do a reading from Never Flinch, which is a book that's coming this spring, I think, in May, from Scribner's. And I just wanted to talk about it a little bit first. And I like detective fiction, and I like horror fiction, and I like suspense fiction, but not necessarily in that order. I've always wanted to write a whodunnit. I like the books by Agatha Christie and people like Ruth Ware, but I also like books like The Talented Mr. Ripley by Patricia Highsmith, where you know right away from the start who the bad guy is. And this once I wanted to try to write something different. That meant that I had to have a plot. And God, the amount of trouble that writers get into when they actually try to write a plotted novel, I can't even begin to tell you. I usually avoid it, but this time I didn't. Anyway, I wanted to write a book where Holly got a job as a bodyguard. And that interested me because she's getting on a little bit in years. She's in her 50s or maybe even the early 60s by now. And she's a very quiet person. She's an insecure person, but she's also brave. And that particular contrast really fascinated me about her. And so I wanted to put her into a situation where she had to become a bodyguard for a famous person. Kind of like that Kevin Costner movie, but with Holly instead of a big, strong guy, you know, a little woman who is about 120 pounds, soaking wet, and who's always afraid that she's going to do the wrong thing, that her zipper is going to come undone, who had a hard job in high school, you know, somebody who's really got an inferiority complex, but at the same time, she's extremely smart. She's got a lot in the way of deductive reasoning. When it comes to intuition, she's got that kind of divinity going to her. I just like Holly, you know. I wanted to basically have a serial killer that his identity was masked, and Holly was going to find out who it was at some point. But that was one strand of this terrible plotted novel that went on forever. So I'm going to read this now, and it doesn't have anything to do with that. It has to do with insurance companies and ads and a singer who's coming to this city, to Buckeye City, to put on a show after a lot of years in semi-retirement. Her name is Sister Bessie. She's kind of based on Mavis Staples, who I think Mavis Staples, she would say herself, I'm not God, but to me, Mavis and God are, they're close anyway, brother and sister if you want. So I wanted to put a character like her in this book, which added to my plot concerns, but in a good way, So this is about insurance, it's about Holly, it's about Barbara, and it's about Sister Bessie. So here we go. I'm going to do the reading now, and I hope you enjoy it. If you don't, you know the solution. It's just a click away from the off button. So anyway, here it is. Holly is in her office that afternoon filling out insurance forms. She sees the futility of hating big insurance companies, but they are definitely on her poopy list. And she loathes the ads they show on TV. It's hard to hate Flo, the progressive insurance lady, Not in the least, because Jerome Robinson once said, "She looks a little like you, Holly." But it's easy to hate Doug and his silly Limu Emu and Allstate's Mayhem guy. She detested the Aflac Duck, who has been mercifully retired, along with the Geico Caveman, although it's not impossible that both Duck and Caveman will make a comeback. As an investigator who has worked with adjusters from many companies, she knows their big secret. The fund stops once a claim, especially a big one, has been lodged with the company. This afternoon's forms are from Global Insurance, whose TV pitchman is Buster the Talking Donkey with his irritating hee-haw laugh. Buster is on every form, grinning at her with his big and somehow insolent teeth. Holly hates the forms, but is delighted to know that in this case, Global's talking donkey will soon be on the hook to reimburse for a cache of jewelry taken in a home invasion, $60,000 or $70,000 worth, minus the deductible, unless she can locate the missing gems, that is. So who's the donkeys behind today? Holly says to her empty office and just has to laugh. Her phone rings, not the one for business calls, but her personal. She sees Barbara Robinson's face on her screen. "Hello, Barbara. How are you?" "Great. I'm great." And she sounds it, absolutely bubbling over. "I've got the most wonderful news." "Your book hit the bestseller list?" That would be fine news indeed. Her brother's book peaked at number 11 on the Times list. Didn't quite make it into the top 10, but still, not bad. Barbara laughs. "With the exception of Anda Gorman, poetry books don't chart. I'll have to be content with 4 stars on Goodreads." She pauses. Almost 4. Holly thinks her friend's book should have 5 stars on Goodreads. She certainly gave it 5, twice. "So what's your news, Barb?" "I was caller 19 on K-pop this morning and scored 2 tickets to see Sister Bessie. Hasn't even been announced yet." Not sure who that is," Holly says, although she almost knows. Probably would know if her head wasn't stuffed full of insurance questions, all subtly slanted to favor the company. "Remember, I'm getting on in years. My knowledge and enjoyment of popular music pretty much ended with Hall & Oates. I always liked that blonde one." Also, she has 0 interest in rap or hip-hop. She thinks she might like it if her ears were younger and sharper. She misses many of the rhymes. And if she were more attuned to the street life serenades of artists Barbara and Jerome listen to, people with street names like Paws Top, Little Dirk, and Holly's favorite, although she has no idea what he's rapping about, Young Boy Never Broke Again. You should know she's from your day, Holly. How, Holly thinks. Soul singer? Yes, that and gospel. Okay, I do know, Holly says. Didn't she cover a song by Al Green, like Let's Stay Together? Yes, it was huge. I karaoke that one, sang it live at the Spring Hop when I was a senior. I grew up listening to Q102, Holly says. Lots of Ohio rockers like Devo and Chrissie Hynde and the Michael Stanley Band, but they were all white. There wasn't much black music on the Q, but that version, I do remember that one. Sister Bessie's kicking off her comeback tour here at the Mingo Auditorium. 2 shows, both sold out, but I have 2 tickets and backstage passes. Come with me, Holly. Please say you will. Wheedling now. She does some gospel too, and I know you like that. Holly certainly does. She's a big fan of the Blind Boys of Alabama and the Staple Singers, especially Mavis Staples. And although she barely remembers Sister Bessie or most of the music from the 20th century's last decade, she loves that good old solid gold soul from the 60s. People like Sam Cooke and Jackie Wilson. Wilson Pickett, too. She tried to go to one of Wicked Pickett's shows once, but her mother forbade it. And now that Mavis Staples has crossed her mind, she called herself Little Sister Bessie in the 80s. I used to listen to WGUR back then. Tiny AM station, went off the air at sundown. They played gospel music. Holly has only listened to GRI when her mother wasn't home, though, because many of those groups, like BB and CC Winans, were black. I remember Little Sister Bessie doing Sit Down Servant. That was probably her, back before she got totally famous. The only record she made since retiring was all gospel, Lord Take My Hand. My mother plays that one a lot, but I like the other stuff. Say you'll come with me, Holly. Please. It's the very first show, and you'll have an awesome time. Mingo Auditorium has bad associations for Holly, once having to do with a monster named Brady Hartsfield. Barbara was there, but she wasn't the one who clobbered Brady. That was Holly herself. Bad associations or not, she can't refuse Barbara anything, or Jerome for that matter. If Barb said she had 2 tickets to see Young Boy Never Broke Again, she probably would have said yes. Probably. When is it? Next month, May 31st. Plenty of time to clear your calendar. Will it be late? Holly hates late evenings. No, not late at all. Barbara is still bubbling, full of happiness, which cheers Holly's day up considerably. Starts at 7. It'll probably be over by 9 or 9:30 at the very latest. Sister probably doesn't want to stay up late. She's old, got to be pushing 65 by now. Holly, who no longer thinks of 65 as particularly old, offers no comment. Will you come? Will you learn Sit Down Servant and sing it to me? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely will. And she's got a great soul band. Barbara's voice drops to what's almost a whisper. Some of them are from Muscle Shoals. Holly doesn't know Muscle Shoals from a muscle strain, but that's okay. And she still wants to make Barbara work for it a little bit. Will you also sing Let's Stay Together? Yes, if it gets you to come, I'll karaoke the hell out of it. Then okay, it's a date. Hooray! I'll pick you up. I got a brand new car bought with my Penley Prize money, a Prius like yours. They talk a little longer. Barbara tells her she hardly sees Jerome since he came back from his tour. He's either doing research for his new book or hanging around the Finders Keeper's office. I haven't seen much of him in the last few days either, Holly says, and when I did, he was kind of mopey. Before ending the call, Barbara says, with undisguised satisfaction, he'll be mopier than ever when she finds out we're going to see Sister Bessie. Thanks, Holly. Really, we're going to have an awesome time. I hope so, Holly says. She adds, don't forget, you promised to sing for me. You've got a very good voice. But Barbara is gone. And that's the reading. I hope you have a great day and that you enjoyed that a little bit anyway. It gives you a little taste of what Holly's like, kind of a refresher course. And I want you to see that I'm wearing my Billy Bumbler shirt. It says World's Best Billy Bumbler, and I've been wearing it a lot lately because I'm working on the 3rd book in the Talisman series, which is going pretty well right now. And I talked to you about it, but I can't because, it says, like Ben Mears says in Sam's Lot, when you talk about a book, you piss it all out on the ground. So I can't talk about it. I can just tell you that it's going really well so far, but there's always a chance that it will crash and burn because it's not one of those horrible plotted novels. It's actually just kind of like seat of the pants kind of thing, and it's a lot of fun. It's great to be back in the world of fantasy and make-believe and away from the plotted whodunit novel. But I think that Never Flinch turned out really well, and I hope you enjoy it.